Whatever. Alright, so my name is Matthew Bailey. Alongside with me is Ricardo Medina. If you'd like, right, sorry about that. Yeah, if you like to contact me online, I'm on Twitter. You could just type up Legally Black, or you could just search for my name, Matthew Bailey, as well too. I also have a Facebook page, a Legally Black blog, official fan base. You can check that out. Ricardo, you want to just give the audience here a little idea of where they could contact you online?
Yes, hello. This is Ricardo Medina. You could contact me at rmeddy, that's RMEDDY, on Twitter. And you could contact me on Facebook. Just type in Ricardo Medina. He is the 17th most important Ricardo Medina you will find on Facebook. Yeah. So, let's start the show, Matthew. What are we going to do for today? What are we going to talk about?
Alright, so for those who didn't check out the last podcast that we did, basically this is just hopefully a long-running experiment where we just talk about movies, music, games, anime, basically anything that interests us. And today we have a lot of stuff to talk about, mostly comic book based. Last week, the San Diego Comic-Con took place, and unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond my control, well, mostly financial-wise, I couldn't make it along with Ricardo. But that's like one of our biggest dreams to be there. I mean, I was there at the New York Comic-Con, but that just pales in comparison to the San Diego one. But anyway, we're going to talk about some of the events that took place at the San Diego Comic-Con, mostly panels and especially trailers. 2 trailers in particular I would like to talk about, which are for the upcoming DC films, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, one of the most highly anticipated movies of 2016, and Suicide Squad, which at first we heard it and we were like, we have to see it to believe it. And now we've seen this trailer and it's like, holy crap, this has to be good. There's no way this can fail. So Ricardo has some other details, other events that took place during Comic-Con, some of which I didn't really, follow up. So he will talk about those as well. Alongside that, oh yes, and this is going to be a 3-part podcast. So the first part we're going to talk about Comic-Con. Next part we're going to talk about a movie that I haven't seen yet, latest film from DC Animated. Well, another DC Animated film called Justice League Gods and Monsters. I haven't seen it yet, but Ricardo apparently has, so he's going to share his thoughts on those. And finally, we're going to talk about a movie that we saw yesterday, which was the latest film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Ant-Man. We're going to share our thoughts on that as well, too. So, I'll put you on to Ricardo. Ricardo's going to start off the whole Comic-Con talk from now.
So this Comic-Con was a pretty damn good one. Marvel was unusually absent, or at least the Marvel Cinematic Universe were pretty absent from the deal. But we had some stuff from the general Marvel Universe, most notably in the domain of X-Men. New X-Men Apocalypse films coming out. It looks pretty exciting. Unfortunately, a couple of issues involved. There was a trailer. So before we talk about the Batman v Superman trailer and the Suicide Squad trailer, which will officially release, I just want to talk about a couple of leaked trailers that came out. So we saw a leaked trailer for X-Men Apocalypse. There was also a leaked trailer for Deadpool. And those 2 films I'm quite excited about. The Deadpool character is a very meta and very in-universe character. Ryan Reynolds is a person who has really struggled with the superhero stuff. If anybody remember the disaster that was Green Lantern a while back. Yeah, this was pretty bad. And so I saw the leaked version, but I don't want to talk about it unless it's officially released. But it looks pretty interesting and shaping up really nice with respect to that. To get on to general other Comic-Con stuff, I'll say the people who kind of completely control Comic-Con this year, with the big winners, I think, were Star Wars. Yeah. And the Star Wars gang. Those people did a great job. My gosh, that panel was very, very well done. Very, very, I don't know, it was just excellent. And we saw some little behind-the-scenes footage for it. And it was so great that it embarrassed Kevin Smith. From what I understand, his panel was more or less empty, I think, because it had an after party or something along those lines, which is really sad, but it was really funny. Anyway, but I just want to get into this, to jump to the Batman v Superman trailer. So, Matthew, I love this trailer, personally. But I'm still wary and skeptical of it, because Man of Steel trailer was great. Now, whether or not you like Man of Steel, you have to admit Man of Steel is a very contentious film in terms of both quality and tone. as far as the beginning of the DC cinematic universe. So I will talk about a little after all the little things about Batman v Superman as the trailer. It had a lot of great stuff, a lot of great little throwbacks, little references to the comics, and they're doing an interesting twist in terms of the relationship with Batman and Superman. And we get to see a little couple other cameos involving, say, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. There's a character who looks somewhat akin to Mercy. If you remember the Mercy character from the DC animated universe, is this tall Asian woman who was in the trailer. She looked like Lex's assistant of some sort, and she was handling apparently the body of Zod. So seeing some interesting stuff, some pretty cool stuff. Finally, we're getting to see Batman actually behave like Batman in a movie instead of the clunky. I love the Nolan films, but that guy, Nolan's Batman is a pretty clunky guy. He doesn't seem to be moving very fast or quickly. There was a problem. This Batman swinging about, batarangs, grappling hook, all the works. And then Superman himself seemed to be working quite well. And, it seemed to be building quite well on Man of Steel. A lot of the big complaint about Man of Steel was, Superman didn't seem to care about the city. And this movie addresses this head on, They kind of putting Superman on trial. Hey, since you arrived, all this, trouble and destruction has came about. So, Matthew, fill me in on what you think about the new Superman v Batman trailer, which is pretty damn awesome. Batman v Superman looks amazing, but I'm very wary and skeptical. At least the big takeaway from it is the fact that it actually looks like a Zack Snyder film this rounds. It actually looks like, really colorful, unlike the kind of grayed out aesthetic that Man of Steel had. So that was a big note for me as well. But Matthew, give me a heads up on what you think about the film.
All right. I'm not gonna get into any serious breakdown as to what takes place in the trailer. I leave it up to you to check it out because on YouTube right now has like 1,000,001 views, tons of likes, and a little bit of dislikes. Probably like about 100, 200, 300, whatever. I don't care. But yeah, I actually love the trailer. I watched it a few times. I actually watched it before, like little minutes before doing this podcast here. I also took some notes about some little visual cues in the film that sort of, flew past me the first few times that I saw them. As Ricardo said, it does follow up after the events of Man of Steel. That one glaring issue, well, out of many, being the climactic fight scene between Superman, I was going to say Clark Kent, between Superman and General Zod that was played by Michael Shannon, that caused like the near destruction of Metropolis. And the trailer more or less addresses Superman's involvement in the whole situation. There's one pivotal scene in the trailer where you see Bruce Wayne, that's played by Ben Affleck, and you see him like at ground zero, literally during the decimation of one particular building, which just so happens to be Wayne Industries. One of the Wayne Industries building, Wayne Tower actually. So during that destruction, there's a scene where the building is about to topple over, and there's this great shot where Ben is running straight into the dust and debris. And then the next shot, you see him like hugging this girl, like the scared little girl. And then the camera pans out, and then you see the sign of Wayne Industries on the ground, right? So clearly from there, that's just the whole setup. That's the whole emotional setup that, hey, Bruce is pissed off about the destruction. He's pissed off at the power that Superman has. He sees him as his threat, not just to Metropolis and to Gotham, but to the rest of the world. And he thinks that he should be the one. He thinks that he is the only one that could stop him. Along with that, there's some visual cues to the comics that was inspired by, that this film was inspired by. One in particular, the iconic and still controversial A Death in the Family, where the Robin character, Jason Todd, was mercilessly and brutally killed by Joker. So there's 2 shots actually in the trailer where you see Robin's outfit. And on the Robin outfit itself, there's some words spray painted in yellow, which says, ha ha ha, joke's on you, Batman. So it's kind of like, Joker's literal middle finger to Batman. And I'm guessing this is the reason why Batman, more or less hung up his cowl and cape. Because the film basically sets up that he's not doing the vigilante thing anymore. He wants to be a businessman. He's moving on with his life. And then this event happens in Metropolis that just shakes up his life, and now he gets back into action. And later on in the trailer, they talk about, well, okay, Batman was like this myth, and now he's back. Now he's getting rid of bad guys and stuff. and even Alfred now, who this time is being played by Jeremy Irons. No more Michael Caine anymore. Yeah. Thank you very much, Ka. Right, so Jeremy Irons this time is playing Alfred, and he's warning him that, Superman is not a threat. And I like how the film addresses that, there's two sides of it. There's people that see him as this saint or this heavenly, godlike figure that's here to, to save the world, to save people. And then you have the rest of the world who is like, this man's a threat. He has all this power. Look at what he can do. We have to get rid of him. So I like that as well. But there's some other cues as well, too. Some stuff that leaves us kind of wondering, what's going on. For one thing, we see one shot of General Zod, who died in the previous film, in a body bag. So, the question is like, what's he doing there? Who has him in their care now? And everyone assumes, even I assume, that it's Lex Luthor, who this time is played by Jesse Eisenberg. I know a lot of people, like, as soon as that news came out and they saw that first picture from Entertainment Weekly with him, bald head, and people were like, Jesse Eisenberg, why him? He's not Lex Luthor. Come on, he's the guy from Social Network. He's the guy from Zombieland. Why him? But I've seen him in this trailer, and he has a few good lines. One in particular that I really like is where he says, "Black and blue, God versus man, day versus night," and then he says in this sort of weird, kind of ominous kind of way, "The red capes are coming. The red capes are coming." So I'm not sure if what that means. I'm not sure if it has to do with Superman's like army. Like, there's literally an army which I assume that LexCorp created for Superman. I guess is to protect him on Earth, and they have like the Superman logo on their uniforms as well too. And there's even one scene where Batman is fighting them like in a desert setting. I assume it's in some sort of desert area in some part of the world, and like he's kind of doing like this fist fight with these guys now. Still, yeah. But getting back to Jesse Eisenberg, I'm not like one of the people that just kind of dismiss Jesse overall as Lex Luthor. I'm not one of the guys who like, why Jesse? He's a terrible actor, blah, 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 blah. From what I've seen in the trailer, I can't complain. He did what he's given to him. So, yeah, I just have to see the movie for myself. In other words, I just have to see the movie for myself before I make my big decision about whether Jesse was the best pick for Lex Luthor. Anyway, along with that, we see a few shots of Gal Gadot from the Furious 5 and 6 movies as Wonder Woman. Now, I'm not sure if she's the Mercy character that Ricardo mentioned. Well, he's telling me it's not. I kind of thought that maybe she was working with Lex, maybe trying to find out what he's up to and then probably step in and try and kick his ass. I'm not sure. But you do see her, dressed very civilian-like, and then you see her with the outfit on, and it looks really good. Also, well, additionally, along with Jessie, I can't really say too much about her acting or just the fact that she's in the film, but I have to see the movie for myself before I make that decision. And, of course, the thing about the trailer that everybody wants to see, just from that title alone, Batman squaring off against Superman is very good. We see them like kind of duking it out a little bit. There's one particular shot where more or less is a visual homage to the cover to Frank Miller's iconic Dark Knight Returns comic book. If you haven't read it, you need to. It's like a matter of life and death. It's like the law. You have to read it. All right. So, where he sends out the grappling hook and there's like, there's lightning behind him. It looks really, really decent. Overall, I think this is a very, very, very solid trailer. I like how it sets up pretty much the premise of the film, and it gives us a good reason why Batman will square off against Superman in the first place. I'm still not sure where Wonder Woman plays in all of this. I just really hope that she's not really shoehorned in for the hell of it just to say, oh, we're going to have a Justice League movie in the future, so here you go, da-da. I'm hoping it's not like that. I'm really hoping that she has a purpose, and it's not like she's just there for like a few moments and then she just disappears. Like, I'm hoping it's not like how they treated Black Widow's character in Iron Man 2, where she showed up a few times and it's just all to lead into this big Avengers movie. It's like, okay. Or or similar to like how they did Hawkeye's character in Thor, where he just was there in one scene and it's just there to say, hey, there's Hawkeye, what do you think? Oh, we like Hawkeye, great, cool. Okay, Hawkeye's going to be in Avengers, guys. Here you go. you know. But overall, I have nothing but high hopes for this film. I mean, Zack Snyder's a boss. I love his movies. I love Watchmen. To me, I think it's like the best movie of 2009, my personal opinion. And I actually enjoyed Man of Steel, although the story was a little disjointed at times, and I felt that the Superman character was just distant from the audience compared to the other films. You know, Superman's a character that we could all relate to. He's us in a sense. So when he falls or when he rises, it's kind of like a metaphor for us, you know, rising or falling, you know what I mean? So I like to see how this film plays it off as, is he a hero? Is he a villain? Is he worth keeping on Earth, or should he just go back to Krypton or whatever, or is he just a villain, or should he be destroyed or whatnot, you know? And I just really like to see this squaring off between Batman and Superman. It looks really solid. But I'm almost out of breath, so let me just put you back on to Ricardo, and he will continue the Comic-Con discussion.
Yeah, no, almost entirely agree with Matthew. Totally. I mean, this trailer is really had me hyped and pumped. Again, whoever these editing these trailers for DC need to get a damn raise, because they're very well done, very well paced. Again, if you go back and remember the Man of Steel trailers, those trailers are pretty damn awesome.
And the music.
Yeah, just everything about it just well edited, well played. It had some interesting things about the trailer for me. That's a little last point before we just cut to the second trailer. We want to talk about the Suicide Squad trailer. Last thing I want to say about Batman v Superman trailer is it had an interesting tone. It held the same tone as Man of Steel. You know, this one is a very different take on Superman in the sense of it being quite, I want to say utilitarian versus the kind of more deontological approach Superman has. Yeah, they straight up have Mark Kent telling Clark, hey, you don't owe the world anything. I'm like, wow, that's pretty shocking actually. You know, that's something that, and the same thing with Park Kent. And the big takeaway from the in Man of Steel's trailer was Park Kent was like, yeah, you could have let those kids die just to hide your secret. That's kind of weird. So it's a vastly different Superman we're dealing with, and just from that, the kind of people raising him. A lot of people, this is like one of big contention with respect to Superman as a character. A lot of fans have an issue with this. For me, if you write it well, it's not a big problem, frankly. But I totally understand why people have an issue with that. However, I just thought just so getting me hyped, this trailer was next to perfect. So next track we're gonna move on is the Suicide Squad trailer. Now, Suicide Squad is a marginally popular DC IP. I'm a big fan of some of the characters in the Suicide Squad, but for the most part, I'm not that familiar with the Suicide Squad as a general premise. But the character I love the most from the Suicide Squad, at least the modern incarnation of it, is Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis. Oscar Award winner Viola Davis. She's a perfect choice. She's really hot right now. She does the show she does on ABC, I think. How to Get Away with Murder. What station is that on? ABC.
That's ABC, same station.
Yep. Right. And
creative scandal.
right, yeah, and no, but she's really hot now. It's a perfect choice. They had a bunch of other people. They had Amanda Waller in again, we're going to go back to the craptastic Green Lantern movie. She was there in that movie. I think it was played by Angela Bassett. The same character, okay, but she's playing the White Queen version of it, not the more government bureaucrat that we see in the recent incarnations. If I'm a big fan of the DC animated universe, Justice League Unlimited is what made that character really awesome for me. She was voiced by C.C.H. Pounder. Who is a Caribbean, has Caribbean links, she's a fantastic actress. And C.C.H. Pounder is such a good actress. She could have played Amanda Waller in the film, and it wouldn't have been a problem. But just getting back to it, so the big takeaway also from this trailer is that we get a new Joker. This was big news when Heath Ledger, the actor, died before the release of his, in my opinion, groundbreaking, iconic approach to Joker. This anarchistic, nihilistic nightmare of a person that you had to meet back. This was roughly 7 years ago, 2008.
Yeah.
Wow, long time. And he died before the film was released. People argued, it was strongly rumored and argued that it is the role that killed him. Yeah. It turned him unstable. There's a lot of rumors around the Suicide Squad set that there's a psychiatrist on set to keep people, well, more or less in check and insane. This version of Joker, played by Jared Leto, is very scary. He looks like a psychopath. For me, comes across as very disturbing. A lot of people was a little perturbed by the look when they released him they released the picture a couple months back. The big takeaway was the grill in the mouth, which I didn't like. And then the tattoos. That's the two takeaway. But I didn't really mind so much. But to see him in the trailer itself, he looks pretty scary. To me, he comes across as a mix of Heath Ledger and Jack Nicholson. You're getting that hybridized version of it. At no point are getting a Mark Hamill approach, but who is still, in my opinion, the best of Jokers.
The best voice, in my opinion.
Just from the best voice of Joker. But this trailer has some nice stars in it. It has Will Smith. One of the running jokes I have with Will Smith is you either die a Fresh Prince or live long enough to see yourself become an uncle. He actually looks like Uncle Phil playing the Deadshot role. We've seen some good people. I think Margot Robbie.
Yeah, Margot Robbie.
She's playing the Harley Quinn. We have never seen Harley Quinn manifesting on screen. If somebody could correct me on that, I don't remember ever seeing. I don't remember ever seeing a Harley Quinn manifest on screen. And Harley Quinn was created for the animated universe. I don't think she was ever a comic character. She was brought into the comics after, but from the Batman animated universe, she was created from the original. And she to me was a fantastic character, especially when you develop a character over time. You realize when you learn her history, you realize, wait, she's not some ditzy blonde. She's just she was a psychiatrist who went crazy. The scene we see in the Suicide Squad trailer looks to me a Joker breaking Harley Quinn, and he'll becoming Harleen. Well, her name is Harleen Quinzel, and she becoming the Harley Quinn for the first time. We get to see all the other characters. Although most of the other characters are not that popular. Again, they have Killer Croc, then they have Shark. I forget his name. See, a bunch of other characters I don't know. Enchantress is another character. But I'll learn about them because I'll totally admit, and I'm not familiar with these characters. There was a animated movie the other day with all of them in it. This was Black Spider, a movie called Assault on Arkham, which I was very underwhelmed by.
I enjoyed it. Don't worry.
I know, I was quite underwhelmed by it because, it had great character moments. I remember it had a lot of great character moments. But the plot was really stupid for me. And I had serious problems with the main plot. And it was just underwhelming. And I was like, all right, well, that was the thing. And to tell you the truth, with this trailer, even though I really like this trailer, how well designed it is, I'm actually not that hyped for this film, frankly. I expect it to be about the same quality as the Assault on Arkham animated film. But there's a lot of good takeaways from it. It looks pretty cool. Deadshot looks cool. Will Smith, everybody making fun of him that he actually called out the actual title of the film, which is like a big script writing no-no. So where's Suicide Squad, huh? Not too hyped over that. But overall, the thing is, the main focus they need to focus on is Joker as a character, Harley Quinn as a character, and Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. And all those criteria was met in that trailer, in my opinion. Amanda Waller is very Machiavellian, very calculated. She's a calculating sociopath of a character. But she's an excellent character. Actually, when developed, you understand why she thinks the way she does. You totally understand why she would be afraid of Superman and the government and people with superpowers. Again, I recommend the DC animated version of her. There is an episode of the DC animated universe called Epilogue, where she basically justifies the existence of the Batman. And it is a beautifully written, well-done episode. I totally recommend looking up that episode. That made the character really amazing for me. She was always good until they did that episode, where she talks to Terry McGinnis in the time of Batman Beyond and explains why the Batman needs to exist as a figure in this world.
Great episode. I think that was the series finale.
Yeah, it was more or less the season finale of Justice League. Just ended it off. It was beautiful and really well done. And as I said, this trailer had me in check for it. It was very well done. Really liked it. But I don't know if it'll be... the film itself will come out pretty good. We'll see. Time will tell. Hopefully, you'll make me eat my shoe with respect to this film. If the film could turn out amazing, and I'll be like, all right, well, I thought it was sucked. Okay, great. But no. So, Matty, what do you think about, the Suicide Squad trailer? What do you think about this?
All right. Overall, I enjoyed the trailer for what it was. What I liked about it, what caught me, is it felt subdued for a comic book movie. It's more like you were watching a trailer for, say, some like a psychological thriller or a crime movie. There's some shots that kind of echo certain scenes, like Heat, for example. There's a little shootout sequence that takes place inside of a building. There's one guy dressed in a panda outfit. There's somebody else dressed with a goat head on them. And it kind of reminded me of that shootout scene in the beginning of Heat. If you haven't seen Heat, you need to. It's a classic. Nothing else I can say about that. Also, it evokes a lot of psychological thriller elements, more particularly with Harley Quinn, played by Margot Robbie, who never looked any hotter than in this one. I find that she embodies the character very well enough. She's seductive, she's sexy, but at the same time, you know, there's something kind of messed up with her. And you're not really sure if she kind of has it in check, if she's just doing it for kicks, or is it that she's just really mentally unstable and she could just snap at any time. And of course, Joker I personally think played brilliantly by Jared Leto. I like the approach. It really feels like a sort of raw, stripped down version of Joker. It's not a guy wearing these like purple outfits and green hair and cackling and white face paint. It looks literally like a serial killer. And in the trailer, you see him barebacked, and he's about to torture someone. And from what we see in the trailer, I could safely say that it is Harley Quintel before she becomes Harley Quinn. And there's this great line that he does, well, before he does his version of the Joker laugh. He says, oh, I'm not going to kill you. I'm just going to hurt you really, really bad. And then, boom, the Suicide Squad trailer logo shows up, and it's awesome, you know. What else? Killer Croc looks really good, and I like how he's introduced in the trailer. They give him sort of a Hannibal Lecter kind of introduction where he's sort of strapped on to this sort of kind of bed device thing, and there's these 2 guards or 2-3 guards, can't remember exactly, carrying him across. What else? Yeah, Will Smith looks really good as Deadshot. And yeah, it is pretty funny that he says the title of the film in the trailer. It is pretty funny, but you know, what I like is that it gives him this sort of like moral edge over everybody. Like, he's the most self-aware apparently out of the group. He knows that, okay, Viola Davis's character Amanda Walker, he knows that, all right, she wants these bad guys, these criminals, the worst of the worst, to be this task force for some weird reason. And according to her, they're expendable. So if anything goes wrong, she could just blame it on them. It's not her concern. And the way that Will acts, the few lines that he's given, it kind of comes off that, yeah, he's aware of all that already. He's not surprised. He's not gullible to all this. Everybody else is just having fun, just being out in the streets, just getting to do all kind of crazy shit. But he knows that there's something else going on underneath it all, you know? There's one particular scene that literally I had to watch a few times before I really, got the point. Not really got the point, but really like, okay, is this really what I think it is? There's one shot of a car chase scene going on, and you see what appeared to me at first to be Batman on top of the car. And I looked at it a few times, and I watched a little behind the scenes footage, and yes, it is Batman. This is Batman's character. And the car, well, I'm going to call it the Joker mobile. That's what people online are calling it. And inside, Margot Robbie is inside. You see a shot of her in the car, in the trailer. And I would suspect that Joker is behind the steering wheel, but we don't see much of him in it. But I would assume it's Joker and Harley Quinn in that car, and Batman is on top of it. Rumors are going around that this film more or less takes place before the events of Batman v Superman, and if it's really true, that'll be really great. But I'm just wondering that, because I know this film is going to get a August 2016 release, so I'm wondering if, okay, Batman v Superman, I guess, is probably going to come out 2 months following that, and then it's going to make sense. Well, maybe it might come out before that. I'm not too sure. But I like the setup that Warner Brothers and DC are doing, where yes, these 2 films are within the same universe. They are, and even do mention Superman in this trailer, by the way, So I like that they are setting up this universe of their own, and the events of one film more or less will tie into the events of another film. So that's really cool. Overall, I like this trailer. I don't love it as much as Batman v Superman, but I like the sort of subdued approach to it. It's not, explosive. It's not in your face. It's just really introducing the characters, the world, the tone, the setup, and yeah, just really that this is going to be a dark film, but it's also going to be fun. It's going to be badass, and it's going to be memorable, and I hope for all the right reasons. So let me put you back on to Ricardo. He'll conclude the whole Comic-Con stuff, and we'll get to the next section of our podcast.
Yeah. So, just going to do a quick correction. You said more than likely Suicide Squad will be occurring after the events of Batman v Superman. Batman v Superman, I think, is released in March next year. And this will be released, I believe, in August, if I remember correctly. So just a quick correction. So there's a couple of just wrapping up with respect to big news, comic news in particular. There's going to be a Killing Joke animated movie up next, coming up for what DC's lineup. And DC have the last few animated stuff wasn't too good, but for the most part, they have been pretty good, in my opinion, but they've been fluctuating recently, mostly because a lot of the recent stuff was catering to the New 52, which I had issues with. I did not like Justice League War. I did not like Justice League Throne of Atlantis. I did not like Son of Batman. Nor did I like Batman vs. Robin. So it's a slate of quite mediocre films. It's one of the problems with those DC movies. Many of them fall victim to following a great comic lineup, source material, and then making a much more inferior story for it. And I could name off the top of my head a good few of those. One of the early ones was probably the first of the big DC movies, which was Superman Doomsday. Source material great, or at least very popular. The movie itself didn't make any sense and sucked, in my opinion. Another example is All-Star Superman. Really didn't like that movie. The original comic is brilliant. In my opinion, one of the best Superman comics out there. This one, not so much.
You just crammed away too much.
Yeah, too much and that's the sad part. You could do a small short mini-series or something like that. No way you could fit that in a movie properly, and that is exactly why it suffered. And that's pretty much it. So we'll just lead out from here. Right, following from this section, I'm going to be doing my review of Justice League Gods and Monsters. You'll find out if I liked it or not. Spoiler alert, I kind of liked it. It was kind of awesome. So just leading up. So Matthew, just before we finish and wrap up this whole section, where can we contact you, Matthew, once again?
All right, you can find my blog if you go to Google or Yahoo or whatever you like and type in legallyblack.wordpress.com. The blog itself also has its own Facebook page. Type in a Legally Black blog official fan page. You'll find it there. You'll find all my previous reviews as well, along with the link to this podcast that you're listening to right now. You can find me on Twitter. Just search for my name, Matthew Bailey. You'll just find just stuff that links to this podcast, of course, and some other things. I'm even gonna be tweeting about the new Sharknado 3 movie that's coming out this Wednesday, by the way, on Sci-Fi. So if you care about that, you could just look out for that, right? So Ricardo, once again, where can we contact you online?
You can contact me at rmeddy, that's RMEDDY, on Twitter. And then you could contact me, Ricardo Medina, on Facebook. Just type in my name, and I am the 352nd most important Ricardo Medina you will find that day. Yeah. So we'll just wrap up this whole section. Comic-Con this year was pretty damn awesome. It was great. It had a lot of action news we could have talked about, so many other things, but I just wanted to focus on the two main takeaways, which was the Batman v Superman trailer and the Suicide Squad trailer. Star Wars didn't really have anything other than no actual new trailer or new footage per se. But I just waiting for that. And for me, I think this was just a wrap-up. So, good night, good morning, good afternoon, whenever time you're listening to this. I'll just see you out for this now, and later.